Hurry on. So now you're going to do micro lesson number 3, which is where you get to choose any of those 12 preparatory movements or any other movement that you prefer, which is a warm-up practice, which is in your Yogapoint asana book. So it is important when you're teaching any kind of preparatory movements that all the movements are going to be really slow, controlled. They're going to be linked with the breath. So there's not going to be any kind of jerking, any super fast movements. Everything is nice, controlled, and relaxed. So to start with, you're going to give an introduction about that preparatory movement. You can talk a little bit about how it's helpful, what it does. You might talk about where it's going to be stretching. So just creating a little bit of interest for your students. After that, you can very briefly explain how to do the practice. And I say again briefly, like with the preposition, you don't want to go into lots and lots of detail when they haven't actually seen it yet. So you're just going to explain how to do it in brief. You can use counts if you want to. As we mentioned, we usually use description of the movement with the breath, but some people do prefer to use counts. And then after you have that brief explanation, you're going to be doing the demonstration. So again, you can demonstrate once or twice depending on how difficult your preparatory movement is. And if you are doing it a second time, I would suggest doing it from a different angle as well. When you're doing the demonstration, you can also talk about how it should be, how that movement should be. You might talk about where you can feel it, and you might also explain how you shouldn't be doing it. So it'll be really nice and clear for them. Then you're going to just explain any kind of precautions that might be there related to that preparatory movement, and then get your students to practice the preparatory movement. And again, if possible, instructing them to practice without yourself doing it so that you'll build on your skill set. Get them to practice it 2 times, and if there are any corrections that are needed, then make sure that you give those. So that's your micro lesson number 3. Hurry on. So looking at the checklist for micro lesson number 3, so first you're going to have your introduction. So remembering that's how you're creating interest in what you're going to be teaching towards your student. And so just very briefly, a little bit about that movement. You might be saying the name of the movement or the number of the preparatory movement, and then a little explanation. So just very briefly, you want to talk about the explanation because basically they're going to be seeing the demo and that's where you're going to be talking quite a bit more. Then you're going to be talking about the benefits. So the benefits you might explain a little bit in your introduction, then you might talk about benefits during the demo or a little bit before and a few after, as long as you're going to be including those benefits in an interesting way. And then the demonstration, so 1 or 2 times, depending on how difficult that movement is going to be. And you can also include the do's and don'ts, so the things that you want to include and the things you don't want to include. It is helpful to show what you don't want to include because then they know how to practice it a little bit more easily. They're going to have less mistakes. Then any kind of precautions that might be there for that preparatory movement, and not all of those movements do have many precautions, but still we want to be saying any that are there, giving instructions for practice. And again, when you're going to be giving that instruction, you want to make sure that those movements are going to be nice and slow and controlled. You don't want to say, okay, raise your arms. Okay, so you also want to talk in a nice, relaxed way. And you don't want to say something very fast and something very slow, like raise your arms and now lower them down. So it's really important that everything is very relaxed, but also it's the same kind of tone the whole way through. Then you can also talk about where they're going to be feeling the stretch or the opening in the joint or in the muscle. That just makes it a lot more interesting. Also remembering to give the breathing instructions as they perform that movement. And of course, you're going to be talking about the breath when you do the demonstration too. Making any corrections if needed. And as I already pointed out, making sure that your voice is going to be confident, that it's going to be clear and easy to understand. So that's our checklist for micro lesson number 3. Now we're going to be seeing the demonstration. Hurry on. So we're going to be learning about preparatory movement type 6 today. So the preparatory movements are really helpful to warm up your body, loosen your joints and improve your flexibility. So today's preparatory movement number 6 is where we're going to be in a standing position. We're going to place our hands onto our waist and from there slowly bending forward and then making a rotation all the way around. And then we'll be rotating back and then slowly coming up. So it's a really nice warm-up. It will help to loosen your hamstrings, your calves, it will warm them up, and it also will help to warm up around your core and your lower back. So I'll give you a demonstration first and then you can practice it. So what we're going to be doing is in standing position, we want to have our feet hip width distance, not turning our toes out, keeping our feet aligned, toes pointing forward. From here, placing your hands onto your waist, onto your hips, that area there, whichever part feels most comfortable and supportive for you. From here, we're going to be inhaling, lifting our spine up, exhaling, slowly bending forward, just as far as it's comfortable for you to go. From here, we're going to inhale, rotating to the left, inhaling to the back, exhaling to the right, exhaling to the front. Now inhale to the right, inhale to the back, exhale to the left, exhale to the front, and then inhaling slowly, raising your body up and exhaling, releasing. Okay, so this is how we do preparatory movement type 6. A few things to be aware of when you're doing this is that you're not overextending. So you're only going to bend as far forward as it feels comfortable for you. Remember, this is a warm-up practice. Same, when you're twisting, you want to make sure that your chest remains open. You don't want that hunching effect of your upper back. And then when you're coming back, again, remember it's a warm-up, so we don't want to have too much of a back bend. We don't want to be falling out of this warm-up practice. Okay, so just a nice gentle back bend as you slowly rotate. So only other thing to be careful of is if you've got very strong back pain, then it's better to avoid this movement and do some other more gentle practices, because for some people it can be a little bit too much to have this rotation. So let's practice it together now. So coming into your standing position, having your feet apart and placing your hands onto your waist or your hips. Your spine is upright, your chest is open, your shoulders relaxed. Now inhale, lengthening your spine, and exhaling, slowly bending forward as far as it's comfortable for you to go. From here, we're going to inhale, rotating to the left, inhaling to the back, exhaling to the right, exhaling to the front. Then inhaling to the right, inhaling to the back, exhaling, rotate to the left, and exhaling to the front. Then inhaling, slowly raise your body up, and exhale, releasing your hands. We'll do that one more time just to be sure. So again, placing your hands onto your waist, then inhaling, lengthening your spine, exhaling, bending forward as far as it's comfortable to go, inhaling, rotating to the left, inhaling, rotating to the back, exhaling, rotating to the right, exhaling to the front, inhaling to the right, inhaling to the back, exhaling to the left, exhaling to the front. Now inhale, slowly raising your body up, and exhaling, relax. So you've completed preparatory movement type 6. Hurry on.